How we doing, everybody? I shot a project at the weekend in London at Hyde Park. It was a protest against the lockdown. I posted a couple of stills of kind of my grade, you know, from log to the finished thing. I was referencing the film Children of Men for the color, and quite a few people have asked me to make a tutorial, so this is it. So we're going to jump onto Premiere and I'll show you exactly how I did it. Not difficult. Just quick one before we jump into Premiere. It was shot on the GH5 in Vlog-L, Cinema 4K at 24 frames a second. So anyway, waffling aside, let's jump into Premiere and I'll show you how I did this. All right, so here we are inside Premiere, and I've got my shot that we're going to be grading. I chose this shot because, you know, you've got this copper in the middle of the frame with trees either side of him, and in the Children of Men image you've got Clive Owen in the middle with the trees either side of him, so it's a pretty decent image to use. So first thing I'm going to do is convert this to Rec 709. I'm going to drop an adjustment layer on the clip above, on the track above should I say, and then I'm going to put my Rec 709 LUT on there. Now, I don't use the Panasonic one. I don't like the look of it, and although this is completely technically incorrect, I use this Alexa default log C to Rec 709. I just prefer the way it looks. You can slate me all you want in the comments, but yeah, that's what I do. So let's do that. Put it on, and that's what we get. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the match function in Premiere, which I'd never used before until I made this video, but until I graded this project, but it actually works pretty well, so I'm going to use it in the future. So what I've done is I've got that JPEG and I've put it on the end of my timeline here. What you want to do first is you want to choose the clip, the movie still that you're trying to get the look from. So we'll go there, make sure your timeline is over that. And then you're going to use select comparison view, and that will make sure that that movie still, that reference, is in this reference here. Then you basically drag your timeline arrowhead and you put it on the clip that you want to match to. So in this case, this copper. So I'm going to go to my little red marker there as the frame that I want to use, and then make sure you've got your clip selected and just hit apply match. And there you go, that gives you that. I mean, it's not perfect, but we're going to work on this. So first thing I want to do is I want to drag another adjustment layer above, and then I'm going to copy that grade from that clip and paste it onto that adjustment layer, like so. So now it's graded twice essentially, but what we're going to do is go to that clip and delete that instance of Lumetri. So now it's only graded once again. The reason I've done that is obviously I want to have my look above the Rec 709 conversion, not below it. And I also want it on an adjustment layer, so I can just then drag my grade over all my clips and I can cut it and tweak it if I need to. But we're just going to concentrate on the one shot for this video. So first things first, right? Looking at the scopes, you're going to have your levels for the reference on the left and the levels for the shot of your video on the right. What you can see when you look at the Children of Men image is the whites are not going above 80 IRE, pretty much. Tiny little bit here and there, but overall 80 IRE is the limit. So also looking at the vector scope, if I just went back to the Children of Men image alone, you can see how it's really not a very saturated image at all. So let's go back to our clip. And I mean, visually I can see that my image is way more saturated than the Children of Men image. So that's the first thing I'm going to address. So I'm going to go to the grade, which is the top adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to basic correction, saturation, and I'm going to pull saturation out of the image. I would say about 65. And yeah, that's already looking way better. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to make adjustments to the, excuse me, I need a drink, dry throat. All right, so now we're going to make adjustments to the levels of the overall image, the contrast, the blacks, whites, midtones. And I'm going to do that on the actual clip before the grade and before the Rec 709 conversion. I've read that this is the way to do it from a book that I've got, which is called Color Correction Handbook, Professional Techniques for Video and Cinema by Alex van Herkman, who's a working color gradist, whatever. Very good book on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. So yeah, so I'm going to adjust my blacks, whites, midtones, etc. In the clip before the LUT and before the grade. So first things first, I'm going to get my whites and I'm going to bring them down to match the Children of Men image, so they're no higher than 80. I mean, my image is way too dark now, but we're going to go to the wheels, and then I'm going to lift my midtones, and I'm just eyeballing this and looking at the scopes at the same time. I'm going to pull my highlights down. As anybody knows who does grading, it's pushing and pulling until you get where you'd want to be. I'm perhaps going to lift my blacks a tiny bit. So there, now my levels are in the exact same ballpark as where it is in the Children of Men image. Because you can see on the Children of Men image, I mean, his jacket, the blacks, the shadows are really quite strong there. But these highlights in the sky are not going above 80. And so that's what we've done here. So I'm going to come out of comparison view, just so I can get a bigger look at it and just visually look at it by eye. And just one thing that I notice is in these highlights, there is more yellow in the image. So I'm going to come back to my look, which is on the top adjustment layer, and I'm just going to bring more yellow into those highlights. About there. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with that. One other thing I think is just the whole thing just looks a little bit cooler in Children of Men. So I'm just going to bring my temperature down, maybe to about -10. And yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. So if we just go through and turn everything off. So, and then obviously I've got my adjustment levels, contrast and so on going on in this clip here, so we'll turn that off. So that's my completely flat image. Then the Rec 709 conversion, the match which we did, but obviously remember I pulled out saturation from that. I also in the wheels added more yellow in the highlights. But then lastly was balancing the scopes. So that was done in the clip before the Rec 709 conversion. So I'll come back here and I'll turn that on. And that brings us to the final image there. So if you look at Children of Men, my image, that's how I did it. It may not be the most technically correct way. I am certainly not an expert at color grading. I just, like everybody else out there, watching little YouTube videos here and there, reading this book, watched a great channel by this guy called Kazi. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. I think the only way you could, learn how they do it in Hollywood or whatever is to actually be mentored by somebody who's working at that level. And yeah, good luck finding somebody. But anyway, hope you got something out of this video. Hope it was useful, and give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. And anyway, I'll see you on the next video.